Marisa, good morning and thank you for inviting me.
Is this filmed?
Yes, I filmed the interview and then I cut small pieces out of
Okay.
it to make a nice portrait. I just had a quick facial.
Oh, you did?
I did.
You
And I
look, you look glowing skin.
yeah, but I have no makeup on. My hair is not done,
Really?
so yeah,
Look
because
at your face though, how
and
beautiful the
yeah,
skin
and I
is.
feel
It's glowing and pink. And
Yeah.
I wish I'd had that this morning.
yeah. She gave me this wonderful
Really, I
massage.
needed it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So
yeah.
she gave me already the experience with your products.
Did you like it?
I love it.
Oh, good.
Because she used the oils, but I didn't feel like it was very greasy.
No, it's actually a dry oil. It's so it penetrates immediately. That's the beauty of this oil is that it creates kind of an under the skin. It makes your whole skin circulate. So that's why you get this
That's what
glow.
I feel.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, your skin is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marisa, tell me, how did you got into this idea, this concept of beauty
Well,
products?
it's been like an ongoing, all my life, really philosophy, because I've been in the natural, holistic way of life since I was very young, and very much into nature and into a philosophy of well-being
Yeah.
and beauty inside and out. So very early on, I had a wonderful holistic doctor that I discovered when I was young, and I was very lucky to have him follow me through my life, and he treated my body inside, but also made up these wonderful formulas that I used to use for skin that I used to make up in pharmacies or in laboratories. So I experienced that for all my life, basically many years, of making my own products.
Yeah.
And using my own skincare. So along the years, I learned a lot about nature, about natural products, about what worked, about what was really good for my skin, and also the importance of well-being and health for the skin, which is, I think, what makes you beautiful, is like the glow that you have, and the quality of your skin, and the fact that you don't need to wear makeup, and that you're feeling your skin is really healthy and beautiful, and so that's the basis of beauty.
How did you get
skincare?
Yeah.
And so I discovered then early on, because I was into all of these formulas and all discovering what the best thing was, that the prickly pear is a anti-aging and a health, very regenerating and a healing for the skin. So I started to think, well, why wouldn't I do a line that was, so I started with a little oil, because I knew that the prickly pear was a wonderful anti-aging, and that, you start young, the earlier you start, the better you feel.
Yeah.
And the more you have, your skin will age in the right way and will be healthy for longer. So I started to create a formula with him that was based with prickly pear, but then it has natural oils, and it has all kinds of wonderful, natural ingredients in there.
The prickly pear, what comes out of it? It's not an oil, huh?
The prickly pear is a fruit.
Yeah.
That it's a cactus.
It's the cactus
And
fruit.
it grows
Okay.
in all the deserts,
Yeah.
all over the place. But I launched my products. They're made in France, but they're actually launched in Morocco, where you have a lot of prickly pear. But they come in many deserts, in Mexico and in Spain and in Sicily, and you see them all over the place. But people haven't exploited them really as yet so much. Now they're starting to realize.
Are there any continents in the world where they use them from a traditional...
Yes, well, they use them in Tunisia, in Morocco, but in a very kind of raw way. In fact, my grandmother used to have a house in Hammamet, and that's kind of what inspired me, because when I was very young, she'd bring back this oil, but it was very raw, it wasn't refined, it was not. But she would still put it on her skin, and later on, when I discovered what it was, because I had it analyzed and I searched into what the prickly pear was and what it did and everything, and discovered the benefits of it. Then I thought, well, if it's such an amazing product, it's really an elixir of beauty and of life, I'm going to try and create a product with it.
Yeah.
So that's how I did start the idea, and then from there, you know, it was macerated in essential oils and natural oils, and then each product has its own formula, but the basis is all the prickly pear. So it's really the best anti-aging.
You call it a phenomenal oil, I read in the press release.
Fabuleuse.
Fabulous.
Fabuleuse
Yeah.
was my first little oil. And then I met Jean-Michel. Then he was approached by Sofitel to redo their spa because he does the concept and all the technical side of spas, and he had just done La Mamounia and many very luxurious spas in the world.
La Mamounia, where that's
in Morocco too.
In Marrakesh. It's in Marrakesh,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. I've
So
been there.
the Sofitel came and said, would you redo the spa? So then they were looking for a really new line of skincare. So he came to me and he knew I had my little oil, magic oil. And he said, would you do a line of products for them? And so I said, well, of course, it's easy for me because I've been using them for a lot of, you know, and I know what I have in my bathroom. I can develop these things. And so I did. And started this wonderful partnership with Sofitel, where I launched the first line, and this prickly pear line, at the Sofitel in Marrakesh, that I ended up by decorating.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It was a very
yeah,
nice
because
story.
I said,
I wish I had seen it. I was last week in Marrakesh.
you were?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! You
I
should
wish
have
I'd seen
gone.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I did these products, I wanted them to be 100% natural, and of course with my philosophy of life and well-being and all of that. And Sofitel has that same, you know, way of thinking, that everything starts from the well-being, the way you eat, the way you the products.
Why
the
did you
massage.
choose for the gold packaging?
Well, I wanted it to be a very luxurious line, and I think that it's nice to have both. You know, you find you can have natural and you can have, you know, healthy.
Yeah.
But you can also have dream and luxury and glamour.
Yeah.
So the
Which
two
you
together.
see less in the green field of cosmetics.
You don't see it all.
You don't see
No.
it. No.
So I wanted it to be both that, because I think that every woman wants to come into their bathroom in the morning and have a little light and sunshine and glamour, and beauty. So these products are they're very beautiful. They're like having you take them
nice
out of this pouch.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of jewelry. Then you can recycle the pouch and put whatever you want in it. But it's also, beautiful to look at. So I think it does, beauty is also in the eyes of the beholder, and it's nice to have the aesthetics of it, and then you have the luxury of having also the most incredible natural products on your skin.
How many years ago did you discover this prickly pear?
Years, quite a few years ago actually, because it's been an ongoing all my life process, this philosophy of holistic,
Why did you got into this holistic lifestyle?
When I was very young, when I started modeling, basically, when I was 19, I started at 16.
Yeah.
And then I started to travel all over the world, and I started on a spiritual path very young, at that age.
It was the era as well, the 60s, I guess.
The 60s and the 70s, but I had my own very personal path that I wanted to evolve in, and so I went to India, and I traveled all over the world, and it was all about finding harmony and finding well-being and health. And so I started searching for all of that and looking for the best ways to be healthy, to keep also, physically, because in my business you have to be all the time looking good and feeling good, and I worked a lot, and I was always in airplanes and different countries and different climates and under lights and things. So I thought, for me, for my well-being, for my balance in life, for my harmony, I have to find what's right for me, and I have to, which is...
You didn't rely on cosmetics that were on the market already. You had a preference to work with your own.
Well, of course I used what was around, but then I started having a preference for developing natural things of my own, and so when you study different cultures and different civilizations too, and you study nature, you realize the benefits of all of the precious things that you have in nature, that are the most perfect thing that you can find.
Does it worry you, modern skincare, if you see what's in there chemically?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't. Yes, you. In other words, you don't. You want to put on your skin. At least I do.
Yeah.
The most natural things without all the. Because now they're discovering, of course, that all these things create cancers and poisons and toxins, and so you don't want to have. I don't want to have that on my skin, and I don't want to eat those things either. I'm very careful about what I put in my body, what I think in my mind, what I develop a way of life, a lifestyle, which I develop for myself, which makes me feel good. And so if it makes me feel good, I think that it may make other people feel good too.
Did you write books about your lifestyle?
Well, I'm writing one actually.
You're writing one now. Yeah.
Because I've had so much experience, and so I thought, well, it's nice to share that with people. And so these products, it's the same thing. I discovered all of these wonderful ingredients and the benefits of them on my own skin and on my own life. So I then thought, well, I want to do my own line of products and share.
Did you ever think that you will get into beauty?
I did. I always did. I always wanted to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's just, when you talk about holistic, you talk about a whole. And so there's no separation between the body, body, mind, and spirit, basically. So when you're thinking in that way, you think, well, what I put into my body is important. What I eat is important. What I take as far as healing myself is important. And also what I put on my skin is important. What I think is important.
But you knew you had this precious oil. Did you share it with friends? Did you give them their oils? And
Yes. I made up, when I started my little oil, I used to give it to my friends and sell it. And people loved it, men and women actually.
Mm-hmm. How did you call it then?
It's called L'Huile Fabuleuse.
Was already,
it's already the
a
L'Huile
name.
Fabuleuse,
Okay.
So I used to give it out and share it with my friends, and everybody said, oh, Marisa, you're fantastic product, you have to develop it, and very healing product too. It's like, for instance, I had a friend who was very sick. Once she was in bed for 8 months with, you get like escars, when you lie in bed a lot. And she didn't know what to use. She didn't find anything on the market to use to get rid of them, So she said, in desperation, I used your oil.
In desperation, and it worked.
3 days.
In desperation, nothing to lose.
She was desperate, and she used the oil, and in 3 days it was gone. And the same with, when you have burns from méduse burns and probably, redness in the skin and all that kind of thing.
Do you think we need, because I see more and more people tapping into a lifestyle, the pace is a slower pace. Look at your health. Do you think we need it more than ever? I think it's a
necessity. It's no more a luxury to take care of yourself. It's become an urgent necessity for every human being, to eat the right way, to help the planet, to be conscious, to be conscious about everything you put on your skin and the way you eat everything, and what you do with your life, and even what you think, and because it's just, people are coming back to, and I see young people, there's a very big movement now, and consciousness, which gives one hope on this planet, because there's such a need for well-being, for health, for finding a certain balance, for people are desperately trying to find something, I think.
Because our lives are
Because
so
life
hectic.
is so hectic and stressful, and there's so much, and so much pollution, so much poisons and everything, that there's a return to the source, as it always happens in life. There's always cycles, and in the end you come back to the right values, to the right values, basically.
But that happened in the 60s as well.
It happens in
that's what you
all
say, yeah.
life, I think.
Yeah.
You find the world doesn't really change that much, unfortunately. It goes in cycles, and now people are desperate to find again what we lived in certain things in the 60s. Why? Because it was another kind of world where there was a certain consciousness, and a certain people were into peace and love. Okay, so it was an ideal. But it was still an ideal. It was still sort of the young generation wanting a certain way of life, a certain world.
And you went through it, so you can give it now to younger generations.
Yeah. And the whole boom of that era, and the meditating and the becoming vegetarian and the nature and all of that. That was the right way of thinking. But then, of course, the world caught up with us generation, because it wasn't, unfortunately, that ideal. It was very difficult to hang on to that ideal, because the world changes so rapidly, and not in the right way either. So that lost generation there is now, my daughter, for instance.
May I ask how old you are? Or is that an impertinent question?
Well, how old do you think I am?
I don't know, but I'm very Dutch, so we always ask these impertinent questions. I don't know, you were 16 in the 60s, you say?
I was in the 70s, yeah.
In the 70s, so you're in your 60s now?